Hello and welcome back to In Defense of a Movie Podcast. On this episode, we are diving into 1994's Junior. Joining me as always, my co-host is Aaron.
Diving straight into the womb with this movie.
Aaron,
Yes.
inside you there are two wolves.
Okay.
One is Conan the Barbarian and the other is pregnant.
Well, I sorry, I don't know what to say to that.
It took me all day to find an opening line for this.
Yeah.
You know, some movies on this podcast really mess with my head and kind of do me in for a few days where I'm kind of struggling to process what we just watched. And this is right up there near the top of the list of movies that you're just like, what the f*** I just watched.
So when would you say, like, not for this episode, but when did you last watch this movie?
So get this. This is actually the first time I've ever seen Junior.
Oh, what?
In 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, for real. Because growing up, there was no way that my conservative parents were going to let this movie play in the house. This is like
sense.
This is too
This
too
liberal
far.
propaganda.
Yeah, this was right up there with like Jingle All the Way. So this just didn't get played in our house. But I was keenly aware of it. I always saw it at the video store. I always saw the cover. And I remember I think I asked my dad about it one day. And I'm like, is that what I think it is? Is that movie about what I think it is? And my dad kind of just like sighed and was like, yeah. It's like, okay.
What did
fair
you
enough.
do, Arnold? You're letting us down.
Yeah. You are the chosen one.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about you?
I definitely watched it as a kid. There wasn't a whole lot of, I don't know, my parents like checking in on me on what I was watching. So I definitely did watch this at some point. But my reaction to when I was a kid and I first watched this movie to like now when I'm a grown man, I'm very much like, I think when I was a kid, I remember thinking like, what if I could have a baby like after watching this? I don't know. I guess I didn't get weirded out. I didn't get into the like typical gender like stereotype roles or whatever. But I was like, that would be pretty cool if I could have a baby.
Like maybe I will one day.
Yeah, maybe science will progress enough that I can have a baby. Do I want to be pregnant now? No, thank you.
Junior? Yes, sir. It is you, Junior.
I feel like I missed out because I'm really curious what I would have thought of this as a kid.
Yeah.
Would I have found it funny? Would I have understood how insane and frankly how morbid it is in a lot of ways?
Yeah, it is.
Watching it for the first time as an adult, as a dad, this hit in a very strange way.
Yeah, it made you want to have a baby. Like you want to, like you carry the baby. That's what you're telling me, right?
Basically, yeah.
It's impossible, it's not natural, and I'm not interested.
This movie sits on Rotten Tomatoes at 39% with a Popcornmeter rating of 22%. I think it did $108 million. For an Arnold comedy, that's actually pretty bad.
Yeah.
36.7 domestic, 71 million internationally on a budget of 60 million, and I'm sure most of that went to Arnold himself. PG-13, an hour and 49 minutes, directed, of course, by the famous Ivan Reitman, who, of course, did Ghostbusters, Kindergarten Cop, and Twins.
Yep.
And get this, Aaron, this movie actually has an Academy Award nomination attached to it in the form of Patti Smith's song,
Yes.
Look What Love Has Done.
Yeah. Also, probably one of the best montages in like cinematic history.
This movie is worth seeing for that montage alone.
Yeah.
I would love to know what they told Patti Smith when they asked her to write a song for this movie. Did she know that they were stealing Emma Thompson's egg?
Yeah.
Or Dr. Diana's egg? I'm like, this isn't love. Love didn't do this.
Yeah.
This is like Frankenstein.
Let's put a bun in your oven.
I must be crazy to be doing this.
You may be crazy, but you're also pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
I'd argue the love was between Larry and Alex, and not actually between what's her name, Dr. Redden and Alex here. So
that's true. Larry does say at one point that it's his baby too.
Maybe it is.
Yeah. Oh man. So I'm so excited to get into this because this is just an insane movie. Absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe that this movie exists. It is just astonishing.
Yeah. If this gets out, your life is over.
My nipples are very sensitive.
What?
Does my body disgust you?
No.
You're kissing? Wait a minute, Alex, you're in no condition to start a relationship.
I want you to know everything about me. I'm pregnant.
From Universal Pictures and Ivan Reitman comes Something Inconceivable.
Oh, my God.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Feel how soft my skin is.
That's it.
Danny DeVito.
Guys do not have babies. We leave that to the women. That's part of the beauty of being a guy.
And Emma Thompson.
You think men don't hold enough cards? You have to take this away from us as well.
I would love, protect, and nurture the milk of it, everything I've got in me.
Stop it.
No, I don't stop it. I want my baby.
Junior.
Is this your first?
Yes.
This year, Labor Day is November 23rd.
But I have nothing to wear.
If they were to ever remake this movie in today's market, I think this is one of those movies that could be remade in today's climate. And I don't know. I don't think it would be like too insane, right?
Right.
I think it would be like generally well received by people.
It would be more grounded. It would definitely be more intelligent. I'm sure there would be a lot more science behind the scenes that actually made things plausible, made things make a bit more sense.
Yeah, not just injecting an embryo into his stomach, being like, you're pregnant.
Hooray! Yeah. Well, we'll get into that eventually because in my heart, I knew that this was scientifically 100% impossible. But I had to know why. I was like, I feel like I need to educate myself and know exactly why, step by step, this would like never happen.
Yes.
So I did a bit of digging on that, but we'll get into that. I think probably where we should start is discuss the cast, the amazing cast, and then I'm so excited for you to describe what this movie's about.
Okay. So we got Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Dr. Alex Haas. I feel like they were saying it weird in the movie. Danny DeVito as Dr. Larry Abergast.
Yeah.
Emma Thompson as Dr. Diana Redden. Frank Langella, sorry, terrible with names, as Noah Barnes. Mm-hmm. And Pamela Reed as Angela. And I think those are the main actors that you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to jump into the plot here?
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, regarding the cast, this movie kind of has like a stage play quality to it.
Okay.
The cast is so compact and the scenes are so, I want to say the way they're framed, everything is very tightly framed that you could pretty much pull this off as like a stage production if you had like 3 or 4 different sets. I don't know if that jumped out to you, but this felt like an adaptation even though it's not. It was really odd.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't put that together, but I could definitely see what you're talking about.
3 or 4 distinct sets, and it's a nice, tidy little movie in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into what this movie's about.
Okay, so as if anyone has walked through the rental store back in 1994, you'll remember a cover of Arnold Schwarzenegger with a bit of a belly, and in that belly is a baby.
You've never seen Arnold like this, pregnant. He's a fertility clinic researcher using himself as a test case. You might expect sidekick Danny DeVito put him up to it. And what's real-life mom Mrs. Schwarzenegger going to think?
Danny DeVito's character, Larry, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, Alex, they are partners. They are trying to create a drug that is going to be for women who are pregnant, and it's supposed to help with miscarriages or to help prevent miscarriages.
Yeah.
They're studying, they're working under a university, and they're trying to create this drug, and they have a meeting with the FDA, but the FDA eventually shoots them down, says like, no, we don't want to move to like human trials, and so they get kicked out of the university because their project is basically going nowhere. And since they get kicked out of the university decides to give their lab away to another scientist, and that's Dr. Diana Redden. Refresh my memory, Dan. She she is doing something with like preservations of like the eggs, like female eggs.
That's right.
But I cannot remember specifically exactly what she's trying to accomplish.
That's all I remember too. No, that's all I remember as well. I just know that she had a bunch of them in a big cryo freezing fridge that she called the dairy section.
Yeah, it was very vague.
Yeah.
So after they get kicked out, Larry does a little bit of sleazy drug salesman work and manages to convince a pharmaceutical company to get their interest for the drug. He's just got to prove that it works. And in the way that they got to prove it works is they got to inject someone with it. And they keep going back and forth and saying like, oh, like what kind of female, or like who's going to be willing to do this? And Larry looks at Alex and says it doesn't have to be a female, and suggests that he injects himself. And basically, Larry pretty much sells the shirt off of Alex's back right back to him and tells him it's a good idea to get pregnant and to carry a baby, and that he doesn't have to follow all the way through with it, but can rather just until they get enough data, and at that point they can axe the whole thing and what I would assume abort the baby. Which was also made me question, because they said something about like just stop taking the drug and then your body will just absorb the embryo, and I was kind of like
that's kind of
I don't know if it works like that.
Yeah,
exactly. And so I was just kind of like, oh, like I don't think it works like that. But like I'm not. That's not the hill I want to die on today.
Yeah.
But so they start the trials. They started doing the drugs. They eventually gain enough information. But as Alex is on this drug, he starts to experience more and more, I guess, the joys of motherhood. Depends on how you want to look at it. He starts to feel emotional. He starts to get morning sickness.
I just can't keep anything down. It's morning sickness. It'll pass. Eat crackers.
Alex, you're sweating like a racehorse.
What's going on?
Everything's perfectly normal, except for the fact that the mom is also the dad.
Larry and Alex very much turn into like a husband-wife relationship, or they have that sort of dynamic where it's kind of like, oh, you're too sensitive, and like and he starts crying, and Larry is like, toughen up, Larry was saying, you should get off these drugs. The head of the university or of the science projects, he was snooping around and was out to expose them, and they had also acquired enough data for the pharmaceutical company that was interested. So it's a really funny scene, because I couldn't help but laugh, and I want to get your thoughts, Stan, but how he basically is like, you don't need to be pregnant anymore, and then just kicks them out of his house after. I was like... I was like, that's pretty funny, because like I think it's playing into that trope of just a man who just emotionally unintelligent and doesn't understand and will kick a woman to the curb in like her most vulnerable time.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty interesting scene there. But so he kicks Alex out. Alex goes back home, but then Alex decides that he is going to keep taking the drugs, because and now, Dan, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you it was definitely the hormones and stuff playing an effect on why he wanted to keep the baby, or do you think that he was genuinely feeling the joys of motherhood and that's why he wanted to?
One of the things I wanted to defend right off the top of this movie was Arnold's performance in this movie, because there's an earnest attempt from Arnold here to actually do something new and special and different. Even if it doesn't land for most people that watched it, he is a very lonely character in this movie. He mentions that he doesn't have family, he doesn't have a wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, nothing. Without his job, he's literally like leaving the country. Like it's his everything. He's a very solitary character.
Yeah.
And so I feel like all these emotions that the hormones, treatments are making him feel are probably things that he might not have ever felt before in his life. Arnold does this fantastic job. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he does a really good job of portraying this really sympathetic character who is overwhelmed with purpose all of a sudden, of something bigger than themselves, like bigger than their job, bigger than like everything, you know? So I legitimately feel like it awakens something in him where he's like, it's not just me now. I actually have someone in my life, you know, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. So you could almost say that these were feelings that he had, but was unable to articulate them because of, you know, the man society where it's like, if you feel anything, you just bury those feelings deep down and you don't talk about them and you just ignore them until the problem gets better, if it gets better. The pregnancy and the hormones brought out a new side of him and made him realize, you know, these things that were lacking in his life.
Yeah, I was even thinking about his physique. You know, we all know that Arnold is super buff and Mr. Olympia and all this stuff. But in the universe of Junior, you could almost say that Alex uses bodybuilding as an outlet to just like bury all those emotions and deal with all that loneliness.
I think at one point they say something to him too, like, you like control, like you like to be in control.
Yeah, when he's not in the lab, he's probably in the gym, even though they don't show. They missed that opportunity in this movie to show him go to the gym, which would have been pretty funny. They don't do it, but I imagine his character is there like every night before he got pregnant, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
You're also looking at somebody who's like taken more control over his body than anyone who's ever lived. And to watch him lose control over it is very enjoyable, I think. And also, it seems to me anyway that women have been experimented on, actually, all century.
So after that, they continue with the baby, and then he continues with the baby. Sorry, Alex. And what would you say? It's about 10 weeks later when the rest of the people find out.
Yeah, they do.
Whenever
do
Larry finds out.
Jumps.
Yeah, they have a bit of a time jump there. Also, kind of behind the scenes for the pregnancy, they did steal an egg from Dr. Redden, and from one of her eggs that she was working on preserving, and they used that in order to impregnate Alex.
Yeah, well, Larry takes an egg from her dairy section, her cryogenic freezer. Alex doesn't know where the egg has come from.
No.
Larry kind of hides the fact that it came from Dr. Diana at all and says it's from an anonymous donor.
Yeah.
So Alex, although he's carrying the baby and is an accomplice to this horrific crime, he doesn't really know.
Is it a crime? Or is it a miracle?
It's a crime of passion. No, I feel like it's a crime. I don't know what crime it is, but I feel like it's illegal.
A miracle. Okay. And a couple more things is when Larry steals the vial, he reads it and it says Junior on it. So he takes that vial.
Yeah.
Later in the movie, Alex also, you see him just kind of pondering and saying like, if it's a boy, Junior. If it's a girl, Junior. And so like he kind of picks that name, which is just at the time a funny coincidence.
Where did you get Junior?
I told you.
No, the truth this time. We're talking about my baby.
Come on, keep your voice down. All right, I got it from Redden's lab, so?
Well, it's Diana's.
You mean hers personally?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Well, you're supposed to get an anonymous egg.
Shh. I tried. Everybody was all out.
Can't you do anything right, Larry?
Wait, don't start with me. If you'd have stopped taking the expectane when you were supposed to, none of this would be an issue right now.
Kind of after that, it goes into the dean or the guy in charge of the science projects, who is Noah Baines, played by Frank Langella. I guess you could call him the villain of this movie because he's out to thwart their plan, expose them, but also just seems like a slimy guy at the end of the day and is only interested in profits and just like getting his name out there or getting the university's name out there.
Does my body disgust you?
What?
My body. Is it disgusting?
No. What? Oh, no. No, I mean, I like upholstery on a man.
Alex and Dr. Redden, they develop a romance. There's this whole scene where they go to this, what is it, like an FDA, not FDA, it's like a pharmaceutical like meetup pretty much. Seems like where all the pharmaceutical guys and doctors go, and they just kind of push their drugs or try to sell their drugs to each other.
Yeah.
And so he gets real emotional and wants to go with him. And then when he goes there, they keep commenting on how he looks like radiant, and he is just looks amazing. And then he has this moment with Dr. Redden, and definitely some romantic feelings are exchanged and also develop from that point on.
Yeah.
So they sit down and they have dinner, and that's kind of when she tells them about the frozen egg and how she also named it Junior because she didn't know whether it would be a girl or a boy.
Yeah.
And then eventually Alex puts it together, and he's kind of in shock and just gets up and leaves in the middle of their date. And then the next day he feels really bad, and he goes to the university to apologize to her. And when he's apologizing to her, he also kind of explains everything that has happened and how he's carrying her baby and all this wild stuff. And as that's happening, the dean or the head of the science department there, Noah, he kind of puts everything together, and he also sees a pregnant Alex get out of a cab, just like so pregnant, like 8 months pregnant or whatever, 8 or 7 months pregnant. And then, puts 2 on top of 2 and is basically like, okay, they've been like experimenting and with themselves, and they've been going behind our back, and we still have some clause with them that will take some monetary cut of whatever they make for their discovery. So he basically goes with security guards to the lab where he's talking with Diana and explaining everything to arrest him. And he basically pushes Noah over. Alex pushes Noah over, and then he runs out to Larry comes riding in his car and picks him up, and then he takes him to the what would you call those? I can't remember what the name is. Like a hospice for pregnant ladies. I don't know.
It's like
something like that.
It feels like it's like a birthing center or a shelter or like a retreat. A pregnancy spa? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like hospice was the only thing that I could kind of think where people go for like a specific reason. I mean, they're waiting to die, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's almost like Larry tucks him away so he can't be found.
Which I think is exactly what he was trying to do.
Yeah, and the weird thing is during that confrontation, before Alex gets ushered away, at no point in time does Alex blame Larry for the theft of the egg. He never tells Diana that he had nothing to do with the theft of the egg. Yeah. He never even says that he didn't know where it came from.
Yeah.
Alex acts as if he's the one who took the egg. And I just don't think that's human nature. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Why don't you just say, I didn't know where it came from? It wasn't like, Larry took it. I don't know what's going on here. I discovered it because I thought, but 2 on top of 2. But no, he takes the full blame and then gets ushered off to a pregnancy hospice.
Must be the pregnancy brain.
Yeah, it must be the pregnancy brain. He couldn't out his best friend. He just owned it and then, gets thrown in the home.
Yeah, it was definitely odd.
If I may speak to your concerns, please.
Yes, by all means.
When I was a sportswoman on the East German Olympic track and field team, they dispensed anabolic steroids as freely as here in America they dole out Gatorade.
They pushed it on them. I mean, just...
Nothing was mentioned of the side effects that are now so obviously painfully apparent. But I'm all woman.
Believe you me.
While he's at this birthing and waiting place, he's he's like, that's where we get the funny montage scene of like the set to the theme song there. We just get to see him dressed as like this hilarious looking lady.
Yeah.
And basically just do all the class, like what women do in their
like Le Mans classes.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very entertaining, but obviously as like the time passes and whatever it is, a month or 2 months, and he starts to go in labor, and he locks himself in his room, and he says, "I only want my Larry," and won't let the doctor that's on staff there see them, and waits until he gets there.
I'm almost 8 months pregnant, and my Larry has to travel on business.
I dread the thought of leaving her helpless and alone.
Oh, that's why we're here. Oh, Alexandra, you've come to the right place.
We should backtrack a little here. We need to mention Angela, who is Larry's ex-wife. Larry's ex-wife is pregnant as well. She's kind of, I don't know what would you call, like just more of a support character, and is just kind of like in and out.
Yeah.
So she is pregnant as well, and her pregnancy starts roughly, if not the exact same time as Alex's. So Larry is an OBGYN, and he brings Alex back to his like place of work. He tells one doctor that's on hand to kick everyone out, prep the building. We're going to be delivering a baby. They get a call. I believe it's was it from Diana? I'm not sure. That calls Larry and tells that there's like a big crowd of people outside his building, and there's lots of press and news people, and that's where Noah is. And Noah is giving a speech to the press saying that our university has funded this, and we are now responsible for a man giving birth.
He's getting ready for his big gotcha moment.
Pretty much. And Larry pulls up in his car, but he gets out with his ex-wife, Angela, who is also pregnant, and just says like, "No, this is my ex-wife and she's pregnant," and just foils Noah's whole scheme that he had cooking up there.
Yeah.
And he does get fired at the end of it, which is good because he's definitely was a bit of the slime ball. And to which Alex and Diana come in through the back entrance, and they go upstairs and to deliver the baby. And so, Dan, I have to say, I am very happy to say that this was a C-section.
Oh my God.
The whole entire time I was watching this movie, I was like, how is that baby coming out? Because I don't remember.
Set up an emergency C-section for tonight. I want everybody out of the building except you and Louise.
You want to do an operation of just the two of us?
Yeah, just us. We're the whole team.
Larry, you can't do an emergency C-section without an anesthesiologist.
We can handle it. Bye.
This movie kept me on like the knife's edge the entire time. Aaron, when he got to that resort for pregnant ladies, I was so nervous because like you already know in this movie that science is just out the window. Like there's no rules anymore. So when he's doing the Le Mans classes and learning to breathe and push, I was talking to Brie, we were watching it, I'm just like, is this gonna be a butt baby? I'm like, are they doing it? This can't be real. Like, really? They're not gonna do a C-section? And I was like, oh man, if they don't even mention C-section, I'm gonna lose my mind. I was so anxious. For like the last half of this movie, Aaron, I was just like, oh my God, please cut this baby out of this guy. Like, please don't make me think about this being a butt baby.
Oh, I was thinking it was going to be a pee-pee baby the whole time.
It's like cat passing a kidney stone.
Yeah, no.
But you don't know. Like this movie, the door is wide open until the last second. They could have said C-section at like the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
But nope. It's our little secret. We're not going to mention how Arnold's having this baby.
Which I also kind of like, kind of hate it at the same time, but like also like it because it just keeps you wondering the entire time. And you're almost like, I have to finish this movie to find out. Like, I need to know how that baby comes out.
Yeah. Is it gonna vomit the baby up? Is it gonna crap it out? Is it gonna come out of his belly button like some body horror thing?
Baby would have been cool.
Because I had never watched this movie, I legitimately thought it was gonna end possibly tragically with him losing the baby. But just because nothing in this movie really screamed comedy to me, like it wasn't very funny considering it was built as a comedy. So, and because of Arnold's performance and Emma Thompson, everyone's just batting 100. And I was like, this baby's not going to make it, is it? or maybe it's all in his head and there's never been a baby.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's no way he's giving birth to this baby.
He did have a lot of dreams about babies. Like, I think, I think he might have had a little bit of baby fever prior to getting pregnant, because he was he had a bunch of dreams about other babies, and they're also developing a medicine for miscarriages, which also kind of makes no sense to me why that's their area of expertise. Like, you know, usually someone has like some sort of story behind why they are doing what they are. It just didn't really make too much sense to me, you know, because here Larry isn't like, well, maybe Larry makes a little bit more sense because he couldn't have kids, right?
Precisely, yeah. I think he says like 7 years they tried to have a kid and just gave up. And the reason he's so like downtrodden is because his ex-wife gets like one-shotted by Aerosmith's personal trainer.
Yeah.
I honestly think Alex is kind of just along for the ride because he just has nothing better going on. That's just like where he ended up.
This is his life.
That's his life, yeah. And the thing I like so much about this movie is a lot of this movie is about lonely people finding each other and finding unconventional family. And it's pretty cool that way.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably one of the bright spots about this movie.
Not trying to be a woman being pregnant. I'm trying to act out a man that is pregnant, which means that it's much more extreme because men are wimps about this stuff. You know, they're not as tough as women are.
I don't think we can take the pain that women can, do you?
No way.
Aaron, this is the second Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that we've done on the podcast.
Second Danny DeVito.
That's right. And the first movies we did for both of these guys were Christmas movies, oddly enough.
Oh, weird.
Really
I didn't
bizarre.
even put that together. That's hilarious.
What's crazy to me, though, is this movie in a lot of ways is a lot easier to defend than those two Christmas movies because while a lot of the Christmas humor and stuff is very subjective and holiday movies are kind of vapid in a weird way, here comes a movie with this bizarre identity crisis where it's not really a comedy, it's not really a drama. It seems like there's kind of 2 or 3 different scripts smashed together.
Yeah.
You have like these really earnest performances and these really dramatic scenes, and you have these big swings that are taken. But then you have these like jokes that don't really land.
Yeah.
I don't think I laughed until like 40 minutes in. But, you know, I think I wrote down here exactly when I felt that it became a comedy was at about the 40-minute mark. So a lot of things work for me in this movie, regardless of how fantastical it is.
I would 100% agree with that. I think that, it definitely, it had all the ingredients there. I think where it fell flat is on the comedy side of things.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you know, if it's going to be a comedy, there's so many missed opportunities for you to make a joke, like along the ways. Like a man being pregnant, you know, they made all the obvious jokes, but this is my theory on what happened to this movie, because it was shopped around quite a bit to people. And the initial reaction when you're, you know, and keep in mind, this is 1994 when this came out. In 1994, you know, men were still at that point where I would say they were more like, it's the man's role to like bring home the money or bring home the bread, right? And it's like the woman's job to have the baby or whatever, right? And so like, I would imagine that would be more of the climate around in 1994. So the fact that they went to shop this movie around, which is, in my mind, I think like, I'm not surprised people were turning it down, right? I probably would have turned it down as well.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, it was very, very strange.
So it's worth mentioning that Arnold Schwarzenegger brought this script to Ivan Reitman and not the other way around.
Okay.
Director Ivan Reitman told me he has some real concerns when Arnold first brought him the project.
I said, I don't know, Arnold, you pregnant, it's just a little too cute and it's a little too obvious, you know, too much of a concept. And I was sort of really worried about the premise. I was worried about how men would perceive it.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was inspired by this movie after watching his wife, Maria Shriver, give birth to 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I guess in my mind, this almost feels like the final frontier for Arnold in terms of like body stuff. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger as a person has obsessed over his body probably more than any other person in history.
Yeah.
Arguably, right? And so for him to see his wife go through something 3 different times that he could not possibly hope to do, it feels very bizarre to me that he would want to do this, that it was him leading the charge on this production, him saying, I want to do this. Almost like it's a gift to his wife of like sympathy of like, hey, I saw what you went through. No, I'm gonna try to copy what you went through, and as a kind of a gift for saying thanks for having these 3 kids. And in that regard, it seems like a very personal movie, which is very odd because like especially in the first half of this movie, Arnold has some pretty nuanced performance for who he is, right? Like, this is only 3 years after Terminator 2. Judgment Day came out. And then you have him playing this lonely Austrian. They let him be Austrian in this movie, which is nice and refreshing. Lonely Austrian doctor who's as brilliant as he is kind of socially inept. And I was just kind of baffled by the decision. Like, say, imagine like, Tim Allen wearing a fat suit becoming Santa Claus, right? That's the tone that this movie could have been with Arnold becoming pregnant and all this hijinks and slapstick stuff that could go with that. But it's like somebody came along with a sledgehammer and said, no, we're actually going to take this seriously at one point in time.
My theory is that they played it too safe because they were scared of ruffling feathers with this idea of a pregnant man.
Yeah.
But they were also like didn't want to offend people on the other side who thought it was cool or funny and like didn't want to make a whole joke of like pregnancy and like women going through pregnancy, right? So they kind of shied away from that. And what you ended up being left with was just this real vanilla movie that was overall just kind of flat. Right?
Arnold says playing a pregnant man wasn't too much of a stretch. He learned from a real pro.
Allergies, the morning sickness, the irritability, the mood changes, the appetite fluctuations, and all those kind of things. I learned a lot from my wife being pregnant 3 times. So I watched her and saw her many times going through all these various different stages.
And director Reitman says this role really transformed Arnold into a new and different person. Let's just say he found his feminine side.
Maria Shriver, his wife, always was saying, he's so much more fun to be with. It's like, he's sort of gentler and sort of more responsive to me.
I would say, though, one of my favorite things in this whole entire movie was just watching Arnold pretend to be pregnant the entire time.
Yeah.
It was very, very entertaining. Just like watching him waddle around, watching him try to be like sympathetic, watching him talk to like other pregnant ladies crying about things. It was very, very entertaining.
I think he did a good
terrific job. Yeah, a terrific job.
He did a lot of research, and he did a great job. I really think so. And Emma Thompson, man, she just elevates the hell out of this material.
Oh, yeah.
She adds a beating heart and like a groundedness to this movie that is so needed and is so like unflappable. And I just love her in this movie. And she's quite beautiful too. And also Danny DeVito, man. Danny DeVito is so good at like pushing narrative, he's so effortless at spouting exposition and pushing stories along and keeping the plot moving.
Yeah.
Even in like the worst or strangest movies, Danny DeVito can you believe every word he says. And even if it's just absolute chaos, you're like, yeah, totally.
That's what I mean by Danny DeVito can sell you the shirt off your back. Like, he's that good.
I was thinking about it in Deck the Halls, too, where he just has this way of driving whatever script he's given. And I'm not sure how much of it's improv and how much of it's just, like, elevating the material. But, does he do a good job.
That's why he's my number one guy. And I'm his number one fan.
Nobody else could push the narrative the way he does it and with the sincerity he does in this movie.
Not only that, but like even just think about his like stature as a human being and then put that next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Right.
I think Danny DeVito is a beautiful man. I like him. But most people probably would say he's not a cool guy or like a good looking guy or whatever. But he has so much charisma. Like if not more than Arnold Schwarzenegger, but like if not on par, right?
Right. But, yeah, it's a different brand, I think.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And like you guys have heard me say this before, Danny DeVito just knows how to bring it. He knows how to use everything at his disposal. And I think like when you are born, you know, the way that he is, like a very short man and kind of, you know, with whatever issues that he has.
Yeah.
And you manage to make a successful career out of it. And not only just that, but defy the Hollywood stereotypes as well.
Totally.
And that's why he's probably one of my favorite actors, is because he's been able to be in some like huge movies. Also, just a terrific actor, terrific human being.
Yeah, terrific.
And he's like, what, like under 5 feet and looks like a little goblin.
Yeah, honestly, like, while I would love to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger, I would much rather have a beer with Danny DeVito. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just, I would rather just sit and listen to him talk about anything he wants. And just hang on every word.
Take him with you to go buy a car somewhere and he'll end up like getting the salesman to pay the car for you. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
he would. Just the science gobbledygook in this movie that Danny DeVito is able to just sell you as if any of this could remotely be possible.
Yes,
it's worth seeing. But that's the thing. And this movie is propped up by the performances. And I'll defend that like to my last breath. The music's fine, whatever. It's James Newton Howard doing his comedy thing. Nothing much there. The plot is bizarre and a little off-putting. The pacing is a little odd. This movie could probably be a bit shorter, to be honest. But the acting, man, the performances are so entertaining and so unmissable.
Yeah.
And the more I thought about this movie, the more I kept thinking about the nature of bad films, because a lot of people would be like, it's a famously bad film. It's critically panned. You see the numbers, the ratings or whatever. And obviously podcasts love to dunk on it, right? But I was thinking about this, man. Like, there's kind of like different categories of bad films. There's like Hollywood bad, but Hollywood bad can still be iconic. Like any movie we've covered on this podcast is arguably super iconic. Even though it's quote unquote a bad film, you know that people are still watching the hell out of them. Iconically bad. But then you have like truly bad, which is like some crap you dig up on Tubi or something. Like something like so...
Look up a movie called Monster'd. That is a truly bad movie.
Yeah. So, and then you have movies that are so bad it's good, but that's kind of a misnomer because that can still be quote unquote iconic if it's within the Hollywood bubble. So like, I'm starting to become, over the course of this podcast, so desensitized to bad films that I'm almost in this weird state of mind where I'm like, bad movies don't exist.
Well, like, hey, we always say it's subjective of whether a movie is bad or not. So, like, there's always going to be some good things and there's always going to be some bad things. Does it necessarily, do these movies necessarily deserve the hate that they get? No, I don't think so. But hey, that's why we get to have fun with this podcast, right?
It's an iconic movie from three iconic actors. It has an iconic poster. It has an iconic theme song I didn't really know about. Everyone in this movie is just doing the absolute best with the material, and the conviction behind it is outstanding, Aaron.
Yeah. And you know what? This movie also is a bit of a litmus test for men. And so if you watch this movie and you thought to yourself, I wonder what it would be like to be pregnant, you're okay. If you thought to yourself, hell no, I would never do that, you need to do some sensitivity training.
Yeah. If Arnold thought about it.
Joking. Yeah. Mr. Olympia.
Yeah. What is he, 5-time Mr. Olympia, whatever he is?
Yeah, exactly. And he can play a pregnant person. You can think about being what it's like to be pregnant.
Imagine Arnold just like sitting at the breakfast table with his like pregnant wife. You know, she's in her like second pregnancy, third trimester, and he's just looking at her, and all he can think in his head is,
I wish it was me who was carrying that baby.
I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, for real though, like that's where this came from, and I just think that's so funny.
I want to know what it's like to give birth out my butt.
Dan, should we get into the science of this movie? Because I am very curious what you dug up on all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I alluded to earlier, it wasn't enough for me to just think this was wrong. I had to know it was wrong.
Yeah.
And after doing some research, I am happy to report that the science behind Jurassic Park is more realistic than this movie.
Okay.
That's my big takeaway, is Jurassic Park is more realistic than Junior.
To be honest, I don't even think there was any science in this movie. like I don't think I heard them say like one scientific thing.
Just some weird fucking black magic pseudoscience.
Yeah.
They inject an egg into so I keep calling it Arnold, of course, into Alex's abdomen, and away we go.
Yeah, that was very entertaining.
So let me give you a brief summary of the core biological problems at play here. First and foremost, no uterus, no baby. Sorry, Arnold.
Your abs aren't enough to hold that baby in.
Yeah, there's no natural implantation site.
Yeah.
There's just no structure, no lining, no hormonal regulation.
What about in the balls?
Isn't there like a Greek mythology story where Zeus grows someone in his thigh or something? Like it could have... Anyway, I know. So anyway, also, no natural connection to blood supply. That's a big one. There's no placenta, right? So there's no blood flow. This baby wouldn't have had an umbilical cord,
There's
right?
There's so much that's wrong with this.
Arguably, this baby doesn't even have a belly button.
Okay.
Yeah, the embryo usually can't survive outside of like the placenta, and the pregnant person can die if not treated. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
And then immune rejection risk, but I think this goes to the, I think this one's okay mostly because of the hormonal treatments that he's taking. What's the name of their drug again? I should have wrote it down.
It was something sleazy that was like just rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, but that drug has to be doing some really heavy lifting to magic hand wave away some of this stuff. The uterus will suppress the immune system locally to avoid attacking the embryo. The abdominal cavity won't do that, right? The body will just reject it like it's a virus or like an invader or something, which is actually pretty cool that our bodies do that, just as a side note.
Yeah.
And, of course, no hormonal support. A man's endocrine system just isn't built for it. In Junior, they give Arnold hormone therapy, but this would still be wildly insufficient and totally unpredictable.
Yeah.
Now, could a fetus technically grow in the abdomen? Strangely enough, yes, but not safely. There are rare cases of abdominal ectopic pregnancies, usually in women, where the embryo implanted outside the uterus or on the bowel. Yikes. Some of these have lasted into the second or even third trimester, but they're rare, they carry major risk, and they usually end in emergency surgery. The fetus often dies or is delivered and has complications. So, yeah, my gosh, like where do you go from there? Theoretically, it is medically plausible for a man to carry a baby to term in his abdomen, but practically, it would be wildly dangerous and an incredibly low chance of survival for the host or the fetus. So
what you're telling me is there's a chance.
Oh, there it is. Expecting. There we go. We go. So I took a bunch of like ridiculous notes between asking ChatGPT about male pregnancy and like... I just totally screwed up my like search algorithms on Google with this movie, man. I don't even know. Like, I'm afraid I'm gonna end up on
male pregnancy possible.
Yeah, I'm on some watch list now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
watch list for a new drug.
Yeah. So the drug they're developing, it improves the odds of successful implantation and reduces the likelihood of miscarriage. Not much more than that.
Yeah.
So the thing I think that this movie hangs its hat on is that between the hormonal treatment and this wonder drug, it's doing all the heavy lifting of like getting us to full term, right? But it's just too much. What that drug would have to do would be outrageous. It'd have to be like immunosuppressive. It'd have to like mimic the endometrium, the uterine lining. It would have to like trigger vascular growth, regulate hormones, treat infection and inflammation. It's basically a magic drug in order for any of this to work. So, to summarize, cloning fossilized dinosaur DNA is more realistic than a man carrying a baby to term in his abdomen. And I think if this movie I think it's worth noting that nobody has done this since this movie came out in, what is it now? 30 years?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, quite the rabbit hole.
And you know what? I think we need a remake. So, Dan, with that being said, I have some kind of, like, I wonder if you have any ideas, but I was trying to think of a few ideas if they were to remake this in current days. One of the ideas, because I actually was thinking about Jurassic Park when I was watching this. And so I was kind of thinking more of along the lines of like a horror movie almost, where they do this like crazy surgery or whatever, and he like has the baby, but the baby is like extremely deformed and just grotesque and becomes like a murderer and is just murdering people, and like it's just, you know, pure jump scares.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't mind just seeing this movie done as a remake and just maybe going hard into the comedy a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, like I think there's a lot of good elements of this movie. You know, like obviously you can get into trying to make women more relatable to men or whatever, or trying to show the side of like what women go through and just kind of like leaning heavy on that. And you know, Hollywood loves that. So might be good.
This feels like something Dave Bautista would do at this point.
Yeah, I would love to see that, to be honest. I also think that the side of the pharmaceuticals and all that of like, you know, how cutthroat they are, how they'll do whatever they want to like beat legal cases. Also, just like they don't care if they screw people over. So it could be a little bit of that. A little like there's a lot of elements in this movie that, and like there's a lot of things that are currently happening in the world that could be incorporated into this movie, into a remake. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on where this could go if they did a remake?
I was thinking of if they did a remake, they should do it as like a legacy sequel.
Okay.
Where Junior is an adult now, continuing the research.
Okay.
This ending is so nuts to me because you're seeing just a tiny little glimpse of what this family dynamic would be, right? Because you have Dr. Diana and Dr. Alex both kind of being the mother figure to this kid now, and all of the butting of heads that's going to happen with that down the road. And it would be so nuts to fast forward 30 years, have everyone playing their adult selves and jump off from that point. See where everyone's at. What's going on? Where does the research go from there?
Maybe he's like, or wait, she is a like star scientist, but no one takes her serious because she was born from a man.
And maybe no one believes her.
Yeah.
Maybe she's been trying to recreate the experiment, but something's missing. Maybe her dad / mom / Arnold / Alex carries some sort of dormant genetic defect or something that is the missing key ingredient to creating another pregnant man.
Yeah.
So she's kind of on this like warpath to get a man pregnant. It's funny, Aaron, because I kept thinking about Jurassic Park because that's the comparison that came up in my research and in ChatGPT. And there's a new Jurassic Park movie in the theaters right now called Jurassic Park Rebirth. And you're just like, what is going on, man? These synchronicities are so awful.
It's just like, you know how they say that they've been showing us alien movies to desensitize us to aliens and get us used to the idea of it. And now they're going to be making movies of males getting pregnant to desensitize us and get us used and open to the idea of having a male pregnancy.
Yeah. So Larry's baby is on a quest to find his birth dad. Maybe it turns out that his birth dad has passed away, and it's kind of an emotional beat. But then you have their kid. Does their kid have a name? They might have said it at the end there. I didn't catch it. But their kid reunites with Junior, and then they say, almost in like a Ghostbusters kind of thing, where they're like, should we get the band back together? Should we try to get another man pregnant? Because like, prove that this is where this all happened, and you know, or just get Arnold pregnant again. Just do it all over again.
Yeah, his wife passed away, and he's looking at his kids, and he stumbles across one of her frozen eggs, and is like, "I really miss her. I want to have a connection to her." And so he goes through the whole entire process again. Man, I hope the Hollywood bigwigs are listening to this episode, because we're throwing some gold out.
I miss the good old days when it was just me and the baby. You know, he still has his maternity clothes like in the closet, and he's like just really creepy about it.
Just puts it on every once in a while and looks at himself in the mirror while swaying back and forth.
Diana comes home from a hard day at the office. She's like, "What are you doing? You said you wouldn't wear that anymore." He's like, "My body, my choice."
No, don't do it. Don't go.
It has to end here.
I order you not to go. I order you not to go. I order you not to go.
My body, my choice.
As weird as this is to say, like, usually when it's a movie back in like the 90s or whatever, like I said, you generally can't remake those movies because of the political correctness climate or whatever you want to call it. But this is one movie that I think nobody would like have any problems with. I think people would scratch their heads about it and being like, do we really need this? But hey, we're in the day and age of nothing is original and everything is almost a remake. So why not?
I could see this as a really solid horror movie where Arnold is almost like a Norman Bates figure. Like if they did do a sequel where he has like almost like split personality disorder and he dresses in drag and like he runs a hotel or something, or you know, like just go full Norman Bates with him where he like actually kills people and pretends he's pregnant and like he's a real problem, but Junior has to like come to terms with that and is still trying to find out, you know, if I can just figure out how to get a man pregnant, then maybe I can prove to the world that I'm not crazy or something. I don't know. Like you could get really, really psychologically messed up with this concept for sure.
Oh yeah. So Dan, did you have a WTF moment at all, or?
I did. I actually did.
I wonder if it's the same. I feel like ours are going to be the same.
I have like 17 WTF moments, but I'm going to pick. I'm just going to pick one just because it was just so odd. Is like, I'll just come out and say it. Why is Alex's pee so dark?
Okay, that's okay. Too much coffee. I don't know. I think that's like a sign of dehydration or something. Like there's something off with his body. He's not taking care of himself.
That's not good for the baby.
But he also did just inject himself with like a bunch of drugs. So could have something to do with it.
I think it might even be in the same scene. Holy smokes. But when Danny DeVito's character Larry says, "Strong swimmers, big load, way to go."
That was going to be my WTF moment when he when he walks out of the room after giving him a sample of his his baby batter. And he's like, "Ooh!" And you look at the jar, and it's like 1/8 full, and you're like, "Oh, like what is going on?" And then and he's like, Larry is impressed by the amount of it, and then later in the next scene when they're looking at it under the microscope, and he's like also impressed again because they're such strong swimmers. You're just like, but this is also what I was thinking is imagine. So this is like he is a like an OBGYN doctor, right? So I imagine that this is something he does on the daily, right? Like they kind of show a hallway, and there is a scene earlier where he's like giving some instruction to a couple and like hands them a cup, tells them what to do. And so I imagine that he is always looking at people's sperm and looking at their swimmers and, and he sees this quite a lot. So the fact that he sees it and is like impressed by it must mean it's on another level.
Yeah. I mean, he sees a lot of cum. And
God, what are we talking about right now? This movie is
Another thing I looked up, just a total sidebar, it's not important, but I was curious if Arnold's character Alex could maintain that much muscle mass over the 9 months of like hormonal treatments. And essentially no, not without like insane effort. it just wouldn't really be possible because he's taking all the hormone treatments, because he's nourishing another baby inside of him. The idea that, like, basically, as the movie goes on, his muscle mass doesn't shrink or whatever, like, that's kind of yet another, like, missed opportunity for perhaps even some comedy. But, yeah, maybe he has trouble opening stuff or trouble doing this, that, and the other thing, but we never really go there.
No. I love the scene when he's leaving the pregnancy hospice, and he just like, they're like going down the stairs, and he just is like talking in his like fake lady voice, and then all of a sudden switches to full male, and then like it is like, oh shit! I think that was probably one of the funniest parts for me.
I think that was the funniest part of the whole movie. Yeah. He just drops his voice. I hope I can clip that. Oh man, that's funny.
Oh shit!
I definitely defend the acting. The acting is worth watching this movie already.
Yeah.
Just the wackiness of it. It's truly a one-of-a-kind movie. I wish I'd seen it sooner.
Yeah.
I also think the supporting cast, like all the little like secondary characters that kind of come and go. Alex has this hilarious deadpan like lab assistant.
Yeah.
Every once in a while she'll pop in and say like one word or two words in like this gravelly low voice and then just like walk off, and it is so funny. It reminded me of that lady from like Monsters Inc., the Mike Wazowski.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm watching you. It reminded me kind of that, where you're just like, who is this person?
Yeah.
I just, all the little supporting characters, they had a ton of personality. They you know, all the women at the pregnancy villa, whatever. Like it was really good. Like there's some really good supporting characters in this movie, and I liked all of it. I really did. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I was gonna say. This movie, in terms of its tone, reminded me of Gigli, where they were trying to make like some like hard R dramatic, you know, crime thriller, but then a studio came along and said, we need this to be a rom-com. And so you have those two personalities mashed together.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's kind of like you have this really dramatic concept film that's almost like sci-fi, almost body horror-ish, asking these big philosophical questions, some ethical questions, things that people in 1994 truly never thought about. And then you have like a comedy on this collision course, and it is so schizo, man. It is just so out there.
It really is.
Yeah.
Dan, what would you say if you were recommending this to someone?
Oh man. Well, do you like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
First and foremost, because
I do.
Arnold Schwarzenegger movies from the 90s, they're all fairly iconic, every one of them. And this one's no different. And if you haven't seen this since you were like a kid, this deserves fresh eyes, for sure. This hits so differently than when we would have been kids, right? Like we're picking up on the nuances, the absolute bizarreness, the medical improbabilities, everything. So do you like pregnancy? Do you like Arnold? Do you like Emma Thompson? Do you like Danny DeVito?
Do you need sensitivity training?
Sensitivity training. Do you want to stress about the idea of a butt baby for 2 hours?
Yeah.
Just a cold sweat as to how this child's going to come out of a butt?
Yeah.
You should watch this movie. What about you, Eric? How would you recommend it?
You pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. That's about everything I would say. But I would also say, like, I think if you watched this when you were younger, chances are you were like me and just an Arnold fanboy, and pretty much watched any of his movies that came out. So you should definitely rewatch this movie, because it is something. It is something that you just need to remind yourself that is out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they made this movie.
They made it, and they were proud of it too. I watched a bunch of interviews with Arnold where he is giving very serious, very heartfelt answers to the interview questions. He's talking about this movie like it's his big dramatic swing, and, which is... It's fascinating in and of itself. Arnold truly felt he was bringing something to the table here, and some people are going to really like his performance, and other people are going to think it's the funniest, most terrible thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, that was Junior. We finally got Junior out.
Finally.
After 9 months of carrying this episode around in our abdomens. In our butts.
There's a little poo,
finally
baby.
got it out. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Check out the show links in the notes. And thank you so much for sticking with us as we kind of sporadically release episodes right now. You can check out all of our Jury Duty episodes. And also, we're on YouTube now. All of our episodes will be posted to YouTube as we get ready to get more video content out. So, yeah, wherever you feel like listening to, you'll find In Defense of a Movie podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.